All right. We'll call our meeting to order. Approval of the agenda with 6A is being taken off. Is gonna be struck.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second it.
I'll let Brad do it. Is it Brad? Yeah, I gotta look.
Mr. President.
I have heard that several times.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of the minutes. Doug, is there a second? Tracy, all right. Anybody see any changes or anything? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment. We do have a couple here. Nothing?
Morning.
Okay. 4 is good. We didn't send anybody upstairs, did we, for
Nope.
reason? Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I'd let you know.
We do not have another supervisor, so we get to go right to forestry. Ah, yeah, we're there instantly.
Yeah, I don't know if I have much to share Ken, with that. So appraisal did. That and acquisition. That just leave.
So it came back. So Malia, do we go into close then to be safe to decide if we're gonna do it or do we do it in open? For the purchase of land. The appraisal came back.
We've got the closed session noted.
We haven't noted, but do you think we should or should not?
I mean, it is, you know.
If we're gonna
competitive,
negotiate,
So you don't want
Yeah.
to let people know what your bottom line is, so I
okay,
would suggest going into closed session.
all right. All right, well then I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for 19851G, so that we have the right one.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Tracy,
I'll second it.
Brad. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. All right, then
We have to leave.
those two have to leave us about. So now we'll go to zoning, on 4723, it's in our packet, we're St. Croix Falls is changing. I don't know, did everybody read those? I read those. You have a staff report that
Pretty short, but yeah. good one.
short and sweet, isn't it?
Yep,
Okay,
yeah, as you noted, Supervisor O'Connell, this information from the town of St. Croix Falls is in your packet. It's a pretty simple amendment for their zoning ordinance. It's just a couple of changes to allow bunkhouses as accessory building with additional bunkhouses being special exceptions in the residential, ag, and transitional districts in the town of St. Croix Falls, along with updating their side yard setbacks in those same districts to be 10 feet. That's the gist of the update.
sure.
They had a plan commission meeting held on the 23rd where they had a public hearing, and the board of the town of St. Croix Falls adopted this amendment on the 15th of November. So what I'd need from you is a motion to move this on to the county board.
Sure. And this fits with ours. For our review. Part of it, okay. Did anybody have any questions on this one? If not, I'll entertain two
Motion to approve.
and move to the full board
Move to the full board.
under consent agenda.
Yes.
I'll second.
Jeremy, they're seconded. Thank you. All those in favor, then say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
That's all right. Through. Now,
Good job, Tim. Forced it right through.
That's right. Getting things done. Yep.
and you are 8A also, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll take it. Sure.
Cool.
As you all are aware, we are in ordinance amendment season. That's our favorite season of the year. And I've had some conversation with Supervisor O'Connell. We've had some conversations internally, both with Malia and zoning staff, that we have some updates that are coming. Some obviously, you know about the tourist rooming house updates that are gonna come. You had some mostly Scrivener errors, Chairman O'Connell. And there's a couple just minor tweaks that we have so far for like the subdivision ordinance and the renewable energy ordinance based on your conversation on November 1st at the committee. And just a few cleanup spots in the language. So what we were talking about doing is putting all of those amendments into one packet, delivering that to you the first meeting in January, and then set up a public hearing for the meeting in February, the first meeting in February. That works for you to try to
Okay,
bundle them all instead of doing them piecemeal.
all right. Will the tourist rodeo would still be all right to do it that late?
I'm communicating, and we'll talk later when we go into the litigation update, but
Okay.
I'm communicating with their attorney. They know that this is in process. So I mean, I think they're doing a wait and see, but I think if we get to it by January, February, we'll be fine.
Be fine, because that way we can clean it all up at once.
Yeah,
and
and
that-
there's also the Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, the BOA one, I have some stuff on that too.
Yeah, and we'll need to go into closed session later on the litigation.
For that one,
For that
part, okay. All right, do we know what, any other updates did we have that we had forgotten or anything then? Just, we could read it, and if we see stuff like I did, just go through it again and
Yep.
start marking it up.
Yep. Just make that notice for the hearing on the.
Stay around though.
7th.
The 7th of February would be the hearing?
Yep.
So the first one in January is when you're gonna bring it all to
Yep.
us? Okay, because our next meeting was gonna be kind of full, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so then for the February, and that still meets our ordinance season, right? Okay,
You know, one of the main things I think we want to avoid, and the reason why we want to kind of bundle all of this together, you know, Tim and I were talking. We bring to you what we think in that first meeting in January. And then you, especially you, Kim, you know, you'll notice other things and want to add, but if we can just get the big main ones done, knowing that once we have a new zoning administrator and we can work with that person to handle all the other tweaks that
sure.
may, you know, be noticed down the road. But,
Okay.
you know, we really just want to try to compact this into, you know, a couple of months and get that done.
And get the major ones,
Yeah.
like the tourist, make sure,
Yes.
and then the little things we can move around, okay. All right. Well, that should be good for that then, I guess, as long as you have that, yeah, because you've got a couple different copies, don't you, that was
Yeah, I am
marked up,
working on the latest copy, I promise you.
okay,
We're working on that, and I worked with Shabana about, I think you guys know this, but we're updating the frequency that the Muni code gets updated online. Rather than annually, we're gonna do it quarterly.
yes,
See how that goes, just so we refresh the ordinances more frequently, so it's easy for staff and easy for the public to understand what the latest versions of stuff are. Doesn't
okay.
cost us anything, so. We're still doing the 17.
But we have to have a way to flash it, because people really miss it.
Yeah, it's tough.
For some reason, they want to read the old,
You go to the section of the ordinance where it is.
yeah,
it's
and
not
kind of
easy
skip
for-
over anything new,
Right,
yeah.
the county attorney missed this.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, everybody missed it.
Yeah.
And kind of throws us under the bus. Okay. All right. So is there a way, who's our website? Are you,
No, that would be clear.
you got out of it, didn't you? Good shot. But I mean, that's something we should do if we have somebody that's doing that, to bring that out there. You know what I mean? We gotta find out a way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that more frequently updated.
But I mean, so it can be found easier. So it's,
Or like flashing, this has been updated. this has been
yeah. So if
updated."
you go into ordinances, it should just. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't there that bottom right hand corner of the website? There's like a bubble with most current information or messaging. I think,
Something,
so
yeah.
we can do it there.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, we could do it there. I think it has like sometimes Snowville Trail information or something like that.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom right.
Sure, okay,
That's really on right now, I think.
yeah, so, all right,
That's what I have for you.
that's what you have on that one. Any other questions, anybody? All right, you got through, cool,
Good to see you guys again. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
yeah. All right.
Presentation up again, but I am pleased to share another groundwater wellness study with you. Doesn't seem too long ago that I presented in the last one, but we're through another year. This summary is for the Horse Lake, Horse Creek, and Straight River watersheds. So next slide. And for those newcomers and those unfamiliar with this project, I'll do a bit of review. This work is a product of our 10-year land and water management plan. Our work is guided by that plan, and the work is, it helps citizens and other partners to develop some of those priorities and work. So groundwater wellness was a priority in that plan, and this is some of the work that we've developed to meet some of those goals and objectives within that plan. This is a grant-funded project, okay? About half the funding comes from the Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection. And then we're able for support from Polk County for the other half, about $10,000 this year. We received support from UW-Stevens Point and the groundwater specialist, Kevin Mazarek there. He's very helpful. They do our analysis and help us with some of the webinars and outreach. This year, we mailed out 985 letters within those two watersheds. 544 went to Horse Lake, Horse Creek, and 441 went to Straight Lake. And we've kind of over the years got an estimate of how many mailings, how many people we need to reach to get a certain percentage of participation. And so we were able to use those numbers. Our goal in these two watersheds was 150 samples. We wanted 100 from Horse Lake, Horse Creek, and 50 from Straight River. And we achieved 121. And a little later in the presentation, I'll show you the breakdown there. But through this program, we provide guidance on taking well tests and interpreting results. Again, we provide a webinar for more question and answers and just informal conversation with experts on the topic. We're also creating a dialogue with ag producers on practices that can help with groundwater quality and things like that, like cover crops. And we initiated the installation of 126 acres of cover crops this year, which is down a little bit, but we're comforted by the fact that we have other programming specifically in the Horse Lake, Horse Creek watershed that covers a lot of practices that can help with groundwater protection. So through the Farmer-Led Watershed Council project. Next slide, please. I can show you here where the two project areas were. Balsam Lake is in the center of the screen there. Straight River, northeast part of the county. Horse Lake, Horse Creek on the opposite end. And I always like to show maps of land use and sample distribution because sample distribution is important. Obviously, we don't want samples all in one area. We want a good representation throughout the watershed. And again, we feel we got this. This is a map of the Straight Lake watershed. It's about 22,000 acres. And important to note that about half of that is forested land. Next slide, and it'll go to the next watershed. Horse Lake, Horse Creek watershed, more agricultural, grassland, things like that. The total acreage there is about 22,000. A few more water resources there. We did have good representation of sampling in that area as well.
That page is missing.
Yeah, it's an animation.
Oh, okay.
And it's underneath the image on your your slide there, so,
So turn it over.
you know.
I see
can
it
get you-
backwards, yeah.
I can get you a map. It
No, that's
doesn't-
all right.
It doesn't show up on the printed copy, my apologies. I'll change that next time. So you get to see both watersheds. If you'd like a copy, I can provide it.
I
Next
see,
slide.
I just see it straight, like just for an observation that there's 28, 39 acres of wetlands in that too also. I mean, so that's quite a bit of wetlands in that,
Yeah,
for that one, for,
the bulk of that is on either side of the Straight River.
okay.
Next slide. Okay, just some summaries that we get. The package that we offer for the participants is the homeowners package, is a pretty comprehensive test again. Our summaries also come with some other information that's somewhat helpful, and we appreciate knowing, you know, why people are participating and doing a test. And in this case, most were curious. Also important is how familiar people are with these tests, and we like to know when the last time they tested or if they ever tested. And the bulk of the participants typically have not tested or don't know when the last time that a well test was taken. Parameters within these tests: pH, conductivity, alkalinity, hardness, nitrate, chloride, saturation index, and pathogens like coliform bacteria and E. coli. We had 63 total samples in Horse Lake, Horse Creek, and 58 in Straight River. Now on to some of the results. Next slide, please. Nitrates, that is a test of importance because it's an indicator of land use activity and has some public health issues associated with it. And as you probably remember, levels over 10 parts per million in each test is above the public health threshold, and people need to be concerned about consuming that water. Out of the 121 total tests, 34% or 41 of the tests that only showed natural or background levels of nitrates up to 2 parts per million, and that's pretty darn good. We had 4 total samples or 3% of the sampling set over the public health threshold. I feel that's pretty good too. So overall, in these 2 watersheds, based on the samples we have, it looks like well water quality is fairly good with regards to nitrates. Next slide. Bacteria results. And as I've said before, coliform bacteria isn't bacteria that typically makes people sick, but if you get a positive hit on coliform bacteria, it's an indicator of a breach in the system. There's a pathway for pathogens to get in there, and that's not good. We want a sealed system. Out of the 121 samples, we had 15 positive for coliform bacteria. That's 12%. And if you get a positive hit for coliform bacteria, it automatically goes for E. coli. And happy to say that of those 15 samples, there was no E. coli found. So that's good news. Next slide, please.
Just to note that
Yeah.
a lot of times, just even if you put your finger on the inside of the
Yep,
testing, you can get this.
yep.
So
And
some of these are false negative if they don't do it twice.
thanks for that. Yeah, contamination is fairly easy and can happen when samples are taken. So
Yeah.
it's always recommended if these come back as coliform bacteria positive, that a second test be taken. And that could indicate further problem or
Not a problem, yeah.
not a problem. Next slide, please. So how do we compare to statewide averages? We've been doing these these programs since 2019. And I've got a little illustration here on the watersheds where we've been, and our land and water plan lists out priority watersheds. So we have our highest priority watersheds in red. We tackled those first, and then orange are the high priority, yellow and green and so on. So the watersheds with the check mark are areas where we've been and offered this program. And throughout the years, we've had 465 total samples. And of those 465 total samples, 69 have come back positive for coliform bacteria. The percent of the total is just under 15%. And according to the Groundwater Coordinating Council, the statewide average for Wisconsin for positive coliform bacteria is between 17 and 22%. So we're trending below the statewide average, okay? So that's how that chart works. Positive E. coli, we've had one out of all those samples. And so that's less than a tenth of a percent, and statewide average is 3%. So we're well below that. Nitrate, above 10 parts per million, we've had 29 total tests exceeding the public health threshold. That's a little over 6% of the total, and statewide average is 10%. So we're trending less than the statewide average there. So recognizing that we do have areas where there is high nitrates and people need to be aware of that. Overall, we have, it appears that we're in good shape. Another test parameter that can be an indicator of land use is chloride. So I usually put this on here. Doesn't really have any health implications, but it can cause a salty taste in the water if levels are above 250 parts per million. And overall, the samples came back well under that, and it appears that we really didn't have high levels of chloride at all in these watersheds, and maybe one elevated in Straight Lake. Next slide, please. So again, we're still offering some of our services for interpreting the well water test results and offering the well water quality guide. Our online webinar that we did back in October with the participants is served up online, and I've got the link there. I'd encourage you to go out and take a look at that sometime if you have 45 minutes or an hour. Kevin does a really fine job, and there's a lot of good information. So that's served up on our website. And all well test results are through the Stevens Point Lab are offered up on a public well water viewer, which is quite handy. And this program has offered much more data for Polk County for that system. So that's valuable too. Next slide as I wrap up here. So next steps, there's that county watershed map again. And I want to show you where we're going next in 2024. So there's 2 watersheds there that have stars by them. And on the east side of the county, that's the south branch of Beaver Creek. And then we're going to the Horse Creek area again and tackle Cedar Lake, Horse Creek. We were approved again for another Department of Ag innovation grant for $11,500. So we'll have some funds to carry out this work again. So with that, thank you for your time again and supporting me. Any questions?
How many samples are you looking for next year?
I think we'd probably be in the neighborhood of another 150 because that Beaver Creek watershed isn't very large. And I think the Cedar Lake, Horse Creek, there'll probably be a fair amount of interest, so I'm hopeful that we'll get 100 there. So.
Okay.
We'll shoot for that.
How about for new construction, do you look up those wells? They don't do as much testing, but they do.
They're not available to us, the new
They're not.
construction. Yeah, it's, well.
They're not easily available, is what you're
easily
saying.
available. Yeah,
Okay.
we're not considering those. This is
Okay.
just for our own programming and the citizen volunteers that
Okay.
participate in the program. That's the samples
Okay.
we're including here.
So how many counties do this around the state, do you know?
I don't have a good number there, but I do know that there's a number of counties focusing on well water testing. St. Croix County is one, certainly in the southwest and east central part of the state. There's a fair amount of groundwater efforts and initiatives. I think there's becoming more and more. And some of the counties in the north have asked some questions about the program that we do, so they might be seeing this and using it kind of as a guide for their own program. So I think interest is ramping up.
Are you overlapping a little bit with Cedar or Horse Creek?
There won't be any overlap because those are two separate watersheds in that larger Horse Creek system, if that's what you mean. And we'll be able to there won't be similar addresses, but since we do have cover crop programs through the lead, we may have a little trouble finding new cover crop acres that aren't already in the program. So I don't think we're having any overlap on the well testing side of things.
So the funding that you have then between the grant and the county money, I mean, that's enough 450 samples, more than enough. Okay.
That adequate funding.
Okay. Because my only question is if you took 46 there over by Beaver Creek, I mean, does it pay to get it out of our way? Because it looks like it's about, there's nothing there.
There's 346s.
Well, yeah.
There's 346s down. What is there?
Yeah, they're
Why is
flowing
it
east.
numbered that way, I guess?
Probably because it's shaped like an amoeba and goes into.
Yeah,
Marion
so,
County.
so
Goes
that's-
into the county and comes
Oh,
back.
so okay,
Yep.
okay.
Flow the
I was
other
just
way.
looking at the top 46.
So, right,
Okay.
there are different loads of that watershed that bump into our county. Okay, so yeah, we have parts of the watershed on either side of Clayton.
Yep.
There or thereabouts, and then we do have another little bump that
Yeah.
ticks into the county on the south side there, so it's kind of.
I get it now that I see it.
What watershed is that? Willow?
The larger watershed would be the Willow River. Yep.
Down that way, okay.
Since we're sampling at a smaller hydrologic unit code or smaller watershed level, all these are watersheds within that larger Willow River watershed. But yeah, it is a smaller watershed, so we may be somewhat limited on the amount of tests available there for volunteers, I guess.
All right. And then I would say on your updated map where you have the 2 stars, could you put like a circle or something on the ones that you've done?
Oh, sure.
You know, something like that, so it looks like,
So you can see where yours complete.
see where we've been and
Yeah.
stuff. I think if we do that, it's like the parcel dating. You gotta see the map, get it done. That you're filling it in.
Can do. I actually have that graphic and I split it up for this presentation. I will say Supervisor Olson, we may consider combining that Beaver Creek watershed with another one nearby, just to have a larger sample area. So that's a possibility too. So we might based on interest, we might expand it and have 2 watersheds within that area.
All right. Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you, Eric.
A division update, here you go. You have to remember now, you're being
Think she can tell
filmed
me how the
also.
pressure
This
is.
is weird.
This is, you're being filmed also,
Exactly.
so.
Hello, for those of you who don't know me or might not know me, I'm Sarah McCurdy. I am the new Environmental Services Division Director. This is my 3rd day, so it's been an interesting week. I was with the county from 2000 to 2018, so previously, and I held 3 different positions here. Most recently, I was the Land Information Director, and then at that time in 2018, I had 3 teenage girls at home and decided to focus a little bit more on that. And now I'm back. They're all grown and flown, and here I am. So I'm excited to be back. Some things look very much the same, and some things look very, very different. And the learning curve is going to be substantial, but we'll get there. Just some initial observations on my first 3 days, if you will. The team is awesome. The staff is honestly exceptional. The divisions that we have, the departments that we have are all functioning at a high level. I'm nervous. This is the glaring issue I think that we all probably know is we have a little bit of a gap in service in our zoning division. We have some, shoes to fill there and some initial focuses to make the staff whole, happy, healthy, all of those good things, just so that we can continue to provide high level of service in that division as well. The staff we have is awesome. We just might not have enough for the capacity. I mean, we're going to be at over 1,000 permits this year alone. And so there's some things that we need to try to address quickly. If the county hasn't thanked the rock stars that are in there, and it's across all teams, people from all of the departments have really stepped up to help in that area. But especially those, the staff that is in that specific division have really pulled through for the county. So that's just some initial observations. And yeah, I can't thank them enough for stepping in and getting us through this last 4 months with the absence of a zoning administrator. Moving forward, I have to yet set like kind of the next big 5, I call them, just kind of big 5 goals that we'll do, and focus on through the next years of service. But just initially, I'm excited to be back and looking forward to serving Polk County again. Now, that's probably not your typical division update because like I said, I'm fresh at it. So are there any questions that you have for me or comments or no, do you have anything else?
Want to welcome Sarah back to Polk County, and
Yeah.
She's gonna do a great job taking over the Environmental Services Division. She has great staff underneath her, so look forward to having her on the executive team, and we're moving forward.
It's a little deja vu. I think everybody's pretty much the same other than, I don't know that I've ever met. Nice to meet you. Oh, Tim.
Just for the committee's information purposes, County Surveyor Steve Geiger will be retiring
yes.
at the end of the
Oh,
year.
really?
Okay, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Tim. Yeah, after basically a legendary career, that's the other thing that's coming up is that County Surveyor Steve Geiger will be leaving. I understand his last day to be December 29th, for sure. So yeah, if you haven't stopped in and see him and wish him all the best. At this point, it sounds like he is really hoping to not have a send-off. but maybe we can twist his arm and stay tuned for that.
Just, Malia mentioned zoning administrator by January. Are we close on that or?
That I don't know. I think Sarah's probably kind of evaluating things. I know it's still posted and out there, but we haven't had new applications. So I think.
The last round, none of them qualified.
Read the
So,
posting and well, it's really something to go through.
Yeah, we'll work as quickly as we can to expedite that hire. That's definitely the top priority
Yeah,
for,
I know, but I'm just curious, that's all.
yeah, no, absolutely.
so then Steve's job will be posted also sooner than later. Yeah,
Right, so are we working with HR on that job description?
okay.
Position, and then along with the zoning and administration with the wage study being rolled out. As we move into December and the start date in January, we'll have the new wages then posted, which should get us more applicants, qualified applicants.
Okay.
Right,
All right, are we good?
go.
Here we go. Yep. All right. Do we want to do our work plan and then do the litigation update at the end?
Yes. Sure, that's fine.
I think let's do that. So our work plan update. He has one on the back.
So I kind of pulled this work plan together
yeah.
from 2023. I used the old one. I did have it reviewed by, I believe Tim and Eric reviewed it just for some changes. Initial, this is just a working draft. We review it every time. I do have on my copy that I just added that ordinance kind of review in January with a potential public hearing in February. So I'll get those added on for the next meeting. But if there's anything you see that I need to change or fix, or we need to do something yearly, I think one of the other things that I added per Bob before he left was that review of BOA in April. I think that was written somewhere, so we tentatively put that there, but that's all. I think that was really newly added. There were some things that were struck that was just from last year that didn't need to be on this year. But anything throw at us and we'll fix and change and do whatever, so.
All right. So if anybody sees anything or thinks of something, just get it on there. Okay.
So is wildlife damage coming on the second meeting?
It's in
Wildlife
February.
damage, I haven't heard from them at
Well, but
all.
it's for December, you know, it's
To set the
to
prices,
set the prices.
the crop prices, yeah.
You gonna have a second meeting in December?
Yeah, we have two public hearings, so. I have not heard from them. Has anybody heard from the wildlife at
No,
all?
no, have not, but that's something we could inquire about. I know they had a bit of a changing of the guard.
Yep, they changed how they do it.
Yep, and but we could reach out to Cody and check his status.
Yeah, so we'd have to, when's the deadline for the next meeting?
Next
Monday?
Wednesday?
Next
Yeah.
Wednesday.
A week from today.
So we,
But for what he needs, the first one in January may work too.
Just by-
yeah,
I mean,
but if it's just setting prices, we should get it so it's ready.
Are you both gonna be gone?
I'll be here next meeting.
He's gonna be gone.
yeah, I'll be gone.
So, well, let's find out about it
I have
first,
some
okay,
questions for you.
all right. Anything else or not? Otherwise, we'll go to our next meeting. We have what, two public hearings?
I've got
Add-
two
add
public-
one other item.
Oh, yep,
In January, I'm not sure how you want to handle the extension pay agents report.
I thought they were done.
Yep, they'll be
That's their
gone.
final report.
Right, that might have changed due to support, so I was thinking that might be something you may want to strike or
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
it's still on there.
I see it's on there, yeah. I wonder if they have a parting Calling for Mr.
You're funny,
Olson there.
you're funny.
We can find out, because otherwise that could just be struck otherwise. Okay. All right, then it's pretty much our other things that we do anyway, so. Now, the next meeting, it's just whatever has to be added by next Wednesday. We have the 2 public hearings.
We have
Sure.
the stewardship presentation. Will we need an update for the Ice Age Trail MOU for the next meeting, do you think?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
The same way as noted before,
yeah,
just discussion and possible action, or do you want closed session on?
we won't need a closed session. I just, I'm hoping Joe will be here because he's the one who's reviewing it.
Okay, the possible wildlife crop damage, and then do we need the resolution for the grant on this one, or is that, we're just gonna wait and see?
Do it for now and then.
We can strike it at
I'll
a
We
later.
can always strike, yeah, let's put it on
Let you
there.
know if it's not ready.
Okay, I think that's everything unless anybody, and then we'll leave litigation update per usual.
Yep,
Okay,
That'll be on forever, I think.
I think so, yeah.
forever and ever.
And then if anything, it's by next Wednesday, try not to, if anything in zoning comes up or land and water, or something, we should be all right.
And I'll try to have this posted on our teams by either the end of today or tomorrow, so. it'll be-
Sure.
And then I'll send it to O'Connell and Olson.
So Doug, when do you usually give your update for the
Next one, next.
North Trail?
For
Nortec.
Nortec, yeah.
Well, we'll have our next meeting in January, so it could probably be in February.
Do your update in February, maybe.
Sure.
Let's add that the Nortec is in.
Okay.
Nortec update would be.
Supervisor O'Connell and the rest of you too. I just wanted to give you an update too on, I'm actually having a baby end of January. So, for my wife, not me. Yeah, and just throwing that out there that there could be some changes and stuff that's on the agendas in February
Oh,
or
sure.
even January, depending when the baby comes.
We can accommodate that, I would hope.
Yeah.
I can dial in on
You could, yeah, you could always go in there. We could hear the kid on the background.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring the baby to
First-
work with,
First
too.
kid, first baby?
Second,
Oh,
second,
second,
yeah.
okay. I won't be so bad.
I
then.
got a 3-year-old.
Yeah, you're a broke kid.
recipients.
All right.
playground equipment.
I'm sure we'll find stuff to add here and there that we forgot or not. Because of the text. So let us go into closed session, I think, to hear these.
I can first give you an update in open session regarding certain things, like we filed our appeal with the Court of Appeals regarding the Stour Trail, sorry. And so if Judge Black does not rule on our motion to stay or set aside his decision regarding snowmobiles, pending our motion for reconsideration, if he does not, if it creeps a little bit closer and we see that snow is coming and there might be a snowmobile season opener, we'll file for emergency injunctive relief with the Court of Appeals, asking the Court of Appeals to stay that decision since we've already filed the appeal. So we're kind of in that wait to see, hoping that Judge Black will rule on that shortly, but if he doesn't, that's the plan, is to go to the Court of Appeals for that as well.
I would think you'd have that ready because I doubt he will be ready.
We're
It's
not
been
gonna have snow.
3
We're not
years.
gonna have snow, so we're not gonna worry
We
about it.
might be safe.
The other update on the Wisconsin Realtors Association, I filed my supplemental brief at the request of Judge Tolan regarding the issue of standing, saying the Realtors Association lacks standing to challenge the validity of our zoning ordinances. Just yesterday, the Realtors Association attorney filed their brief, and now I have one more. I think it's due by the 18th, final brief before Judge Tolan will rule on our motion to dismiss for lack of standing. That's all I can give you in open session.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Not having
All
fun.
right.
Might I just add on the, next Monday is the earliest that we could open the snowmobile trails. So that's.
If there were snow.
Cannot
If there was snow,
Yeah.
it would have
If
been the
there was
earliest.
snow, yeah, next Monday
It
is.
was the earliest anyway, so.
Right.
So it'll be a little
It's not
while.
looking favorable.
All right.
He's got a snow machine and he
Yep.
pulls a snowmobile.
I know, right? He's already been out there. Let it go. Let it go.
Well, Tracy did the motion for
Brad,
1985-1.
Yeah, I guess I seconded
And
it.
Brad will second. That's what I wrote down. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Unanimous. Entertain the last one.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Brad, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned 10:30 after that.